Hi, this is Vixen. I'm here with my friend's Guitar Center, and we're at the El Rey Theater in Los Angeles. Today, we're going to be trying out the Jackson American Series Soloist SL2MG and SL2MG HT. What I really love about Jacksons, I think primarily they're just really easy to play for me. Some things I do are quite modern, I would say. I need like big frets, a nice sort of flat radius, particularly at the top for big bends and vibrato. I'm pretty passionate about that stuff. I usually have a compound radius, which is really nice. Because of the shape of them, S-type guitar with a pointy headstock just really reminds me of like the 80s. For me, I would grab a Jackson when sonically I need something that is just like really aggressive. I just need something that I know I can plug it into like a distorted amp and it's just gonna sound right pretty much straight away. And you don't need to tweak it. It's like, it's built for that. It's built for speed. So this guitar has a Hipshot hardtail bridge. So that's gonna be perfect for going like between drop and standard for me. And then also just changing the tuning in general from standard to like D standard or whatever. It's like, this is a riffing guitar for me, I would say. Yeah, you just like string it through like that, really nice and simple. It feels very minimal, feels really comfortable here. They have nice kind of rounded edges down here. It's like a satin kind of black finish. I really like the feel of this bridge. It feels like very to the point. So I'm gonna do some playing. I'm gonna be using the EMG 81 at the bridge, and I'm gonna be going through this gorgeous half stack, which is a special treat for me, and it's a EVH 5150. So what makes these guitars really easy to play, for me, is a couple of things. The first thing, it's got this gorgeous satin neck. I'm really into necks that like don't have a glossy finish. There's less friction for like my hand and my thumb, and I feel like I can slide around very comfortably. And I also just like, I prefer how it feels just all the time. And then the other thing, they've got a 12 to 16 compound radius, which for me allows the action to be set up super low, particularly up here where it's flatter, and that is very much to my liking. So I'm gonna stay on the bridge pickup here, and I'm just gonna play something that's like a little bit more modern metal. That riff was like particularly easy for me to play on this guitar because it's got 24 frets. I was playing up at 24 and it was pretty easy to reach, especially because of the neck through construction. Before I like started playing 24 fret guitars, I used to be like, I never use a 24th fret. I would always bend up to the 24th from 22nd if I needed to. What I didn't realize was that it actually makes everything below 24, like 22 to 12, way more accessible to play. Particularly if you play in A minor, if you're doing A minor like pentatonic in this shape up here, it's so chill to play. And that would always be like really awkward on like a 22 fret guitar with like a bolt-on neck. 24 frets really opens all this up. I've been riffing on this hardtail model in drop C, and I'm gonna switch over to the Floyd Rose model in standard tuning now for maybe some more lead stuff. We got the Floyd Rose model here. I love playing lead guitar with a trem. Cool thing about Floyd Roses, amazing tuning stability, and you can do cool things like you can go up on them, you can flutter them really nicely. Even if you're not doing like crazy dive bombs and stuff, they just perform really well all round as a trem. So I'm gonna do some lead playing for you. I'm on the bridge pickup and I've kicked on this Marshall Blues Breaker reissue. I've also got this Boss noise suppressor NS2, and in the effects loop of the amp, we've got a Strymon Blue Sky using plate reverb. Something that I've noticed with these active pickups is they have more sustain, which is really, really cool. The reason being, there's less magnetic pull on the string, so apparently it can move more freely. But they're also like higher output, which is cool. But some of those big bends, you can just hold them up there for a little bit longer, and it's very fun. So I'm gonna play some Floyd heavy stuff right now. The trem stuff that I used there, most of it is of course inspired by Eddie Van Halen, particularly when I did the low E and then dropped all the way down. I did some kind of tapping of the trem arm in conjunction with some hammer-ons and pull-offs. It kind of makes it sound like another note, like do no no. I think I saw Nick Johnston do that, and that's where I sort of got inspired to do that. And I did some flutters as well. For me, I like pulling it up and then releasing it, and the arm kind of just like goes brrr, gives it that kind of sound. Very Shredder, very Steve Vai. I think I've seen Mark Tremonti do that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, I went pretty hard on the trem and it stayed perfectly in tune, which is what we all want. So we've been living on the bridge pickup this whole time, and it's time to move on. We're gonna go to the neck pickup. EMG 85. For distorted stuff, I wouldn't use the neck pickup a huge amount, but I would use it for alternate picked runs or like sweep pick kind of stuff if I'm attempting that. That much picking has a lot of attack and a lot of brightness, so I like to balance it out with the warmth of this pickup. And then I would typically switch back to the bridge for blues lick or something to finish off my playing. Do a little bit of that now. So this guitar has what Jackson called a speed neck, and part of that is that it has rolled edges to give it a more played-in feel. But essentially, it's really comfy on the edge here. There's no like sharp edges. When I first got a guitar with this neck, I was just like, oh, it's just super comfy, amazing. But then later on, I got a guitar without the rolled edges, and I was like, oh my God, it's like so sharp on like the edge of my finger. So these necks are really comfy. I really endorse them, actually. So although for distorted playing, I play like 90% of the time on the bridge, it is really important to me to have two pickups so I can get that middle position, particularly for cleans and clean-ish playing. Rock and metal, I think it's a really big part of the genre. You need those fragile, small, clean sections, maybe in an intro or a bridge, to make the drops like extra heavy. So I'm in the middle position here, don't have any of these pedals on, but I do have in the effects loop an Ibanez analog delay and then a Strymon Blue Sky, and we're in channel 1 of the EVH. Sweet, so that was like some pristine cleans. I was pretty happy with that tone. Something that I've noticed with using these active pickups is they behave differently to passive when you're playing with the volume. As you roll down, they actually maintain their high end and they maintain like the full frequency range of when they're maxed out. Whereas with passive, when you roll down, you start to lose some of the high end. Yes, I think it's a pretty cool thing about active pickups. I'm gonna use the neck pickup for some cleans now. This is my favorite place to play for maybe some clean, chordy, tapping type stuff, which I'm gonna try and do. It's the warmest sound, and yeah, I think for cleans, super useful. I was moving around my right arm quite a bit, and having like a satin finish on the guitar is really useful for that. I like to play with my arms out. I have tattoos, I like to show them off. But a problem with that is like this part can often get caught on like glossy finishes if I'm doing like tapping type stuff across here. But yeah, with this guitar, there's like very minimal friction, which is really nice. And then also you just don't really see like fingerprints and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think satin guitars are like really cool. Final thoughts on these guitars. I think they're just really great, like no-nonsense rock and metal machines. They've got all the sort of things that I look for. Stainless steel jumbo frets, got an ebony board, neck through, got things like locking tuners up here, and like a variety of bridges as well, which is really, really cool. Jackson have been like putting out these American series guitars for 3 years now, but this is the first time that they've released a hardtail model. And I think it's just super important for riff-based players in particular. So I think that model is going to be really, really popular. And then of course we've got the classic Floyd model here, but with these EMG active pickups. So if you'd like to learn more about the Jackson American Series Soloist SL2MG and SL2MG HT, head to guitarcenter.com, contact one of their expert gear advisors, or just pop into your local GC.